Today on the Video Creator Podcast, we have a unique episode. I'm here with Sean Davis of the YouTube channel AutoTopiaLA. AutoTopiaLA has accumulated over 333,000 subscribers and over 71 million total channel views by showing off the dopest cars in California and perhaps even the world. Among these beautiful rides featured by this channel are ones that have been driven by the likes of Snoop Dogg and Robert Downey Jr. AutoTopiaLA isn't just a YouTube channel either. It is in immaculate storage facilities where beautiful cars get the best care for long or short-term storage. Surely, having a warehouse of world-class vehicles has made it easier for Sean and his crew to keep making these incredible videos that celebrate the highest quality automobiles. Sean, thanks for joining me today. My first question is, these videos are really professional, and you've been posting since 2017, December specifically. Do you have a lot of experience creating these videos? Like, how did this channel come about?
Yeah, now we have experience, but when we started it, so I was at an event, a fairly small event, and there was a line of people standing to get their pictures taken with this guy. And I asked this other guy, "Hey, who is that?" And he said, "TJ Hunt." And I had never heard of TJ Hunt before. I wasn't really up on YouTube content. So I started asking questions. One thing led to another, ultimately where we went, "Hey, why don't we give this a shot?" So my friend Paul, Chris, and myself decided to start the channel. We didn't have, when I say we didn't have a clue of what we were doing, we knew nothing. Paul just started shooting stuff. Oftentimes we'd come back, look at it and go, "Oh, we don't have an intro. We don't have an outro. We don't have this and that." But anyways, we started to learn and figure it out a little bit. The first year of the channel, I did all the editing, and I'd never edited in my life before. Bought Premiere Pro, did a bunch of their tutorials, and we started throwing up videos, and we watched it grow. And then about 6 months in, we landed on, accidentally, what became the beginnings of our current format that we run. And then in the second year of the channel, a kid named Kyle Simon, I say kid because at the time he was 18, now he's 21. Kyle came in and took over the editing from me, which is great. He's better than me, he's faster than me, and it gave me time to do something other than edit or run my business, because that's, the first year I was doing 100 hours a week between my business and the channel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was working a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that you just kind of started making videos, even though you weren't 100% sure how it was all going to look. So obviously with this podcast, the idea is to show people how to succeed on YouTube by talking to people who already have succeeded. Yeah. And my advice is always just get started. It doesn't matter if you even know what you're doing. It's YouTube. Like, you just post, you start posting, you get better. And eventually, if you really believe in what you're doing, which clearly you do, it's eventually going to start working out. Yep. And I noticed your first really big video was in December of, it was a video where you drove Robert Downey Jr.'s custom-made Mustang. I'm just curious, a little background on that. So that was your first video that got over 100,000 views. I think it's currently sitting at about 200,000 views. How did you get your hands on this? I know you have a storage facility, but let's get some background on this video.
Yeah. My friend Dave Salvaggio, who's a car builder, now he's got a company called Salvaggio Design, but at the time Dave was with a company called Speedcore. And Speedcore, whenever they had cars out here on the West Coast, because they're based in Wisconsin, anytime they were out here, they'd store cars with me, oftentimes ask me to transport them either to a client or to a show or something of that nature. So that's how the Downey Mustang came in here. And the day we shot it, this is one of those examples where we didn't quite know what we were doing yet, but we had the car here. I was asked to drive the car to Robert's house, which is over in Malibu. And so I asked Speedcore at the time, I said, "Hey, can we shoot a video on it?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure, have fun." And so that's the video we did on that car. And it's funny, dude, because I look back on our early videos where we didn't know anything about creating a format. We didn't have a format yet. We just kind of we just went for it. We just kept going for it. And like you said a minute ago, I tell people the same thing all the time. How do you get started? Grab a camera, grab your phone, grab whatever you've got to shoot with and shoot, and then edit it and then put it up and see where it goes, I mean, so anyways, yeah, that's how that video got happening. And it was kind of mind boggling. I'm driving, that's probably, oh God, it's got to be close to a $500,000 build in that car. And, rather than putting it on an enclosed trailer, they said, drive it to Robert's house. I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can definitely do that.
You're like, yeah, that sounds great. No qualms here.
Yeah. Bitch a Mustang, Iron Man. Yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like AutoTopiaLA, the storage facility. So just like to clarify about that, you guys have a very big building. It's very beautiful looking. It's full of nice cars. How long have you had that? Did that kind of coincide with the YouTube channel? Did you already have that, and then the channel kind of came after? How does that work?
Yeah. So it goes back, like I was a touring working musician my whole life, right? 2011. I was sick of being on the road. I called my little brother in this building that I operate out of, which is my storage facility. At the time, this was my little brother's man cave. He had about 12 of his own cars here. He was super tight friends with Roger Rodas and Paul Walker. Paul and Roger would keep cars here as like an overflow spot, and it was their party spot, So I worked for my brother for a couple of years. And then when he started to downsize his collection, I asked him if I could take over leasing this building from him and turn it into what it is now. So I did that. I had the building going for about a year. I was just getting close to hitting my break-even point. And that was when I told you the story about, seeing TJ Hunt, a line of people waiting to take pictures with him. And we said, hey, let's try this YouTube thing. So here we are, gosh, it's like 4.5 years we've been doing this now. And other than a couple of times recently, we've been consistent with we do 2 videos a week, every Tuesday, every Friday, 5 p.m. is when a video goes live. And, until recently when I was in a gnarly car accident where we had to stop for about 2 months. Otherwise, we've been super consistent on that.
Mm-hmm. And so when you were first uploading, was it just kind of like whenever you would finish a video?
No, we were, the guy that told me, hey, that's TJ Hunt, that guy had a channel. He still does, but at the time it was pretty successful, called Smurf and WRX, my friend Mike. And Mike told me a thing that stuck with me forever regarding YouTube. He said, in my experience, he said, if you put a charismatic personality in front of the camera and you give good, consistent content, you have the ability to organically grow. So I couldn't say anything about whether or not I'm charismatic. I'm not going to look at myself in that manner. And I couldn't even say we were giving good content. The one thing I knew we could do is we could be consistent, and that's where we were doing this Tuesday, Friday, 5 p.m. I can't even tell you how many times I knew I wasn't going to get to sleep Monday night and Thursday night because I would edit all night long to get a video done because I still had my business here to run. And that was the main thing. And we try to stay, look, once in a while we're late on a video and edit takes longer than we were planning and it goes up at 6 o'clock. But our goal is Tuesday, Friday, 5 p.m. no matter what, And
okay. And it's been like that since the very beginning.
Since the beginning. Yep. We've managed.
Wow.
And dude, I can tell you there's times before where we didn't have, it's Monday. We've got nothing shot. It's raining outside and you go, the hell are we going to do? And then we come up with something like borrowing a truck from somebody and going, hey, let's go smashing through puddles. Like we did one video where all I did was timed it in this big Raptor. And there was a big dip in the road where it was totally overfilled with water. And I would time it driving down the road and wait for a car coming in the opposite direction. And I would go bashing through the water and I would bury a car. We made an entire video out of burying cars in the water. I mean,
wow, that is a beautiful creative process.
It's just, the main thing for us has always been, I think consistency in life is a good thing. I think when you build a level of reliability where people can bank on you, if you got 5 viewers and they know you're going to put up a video every Tuesday and Friday and they love what you do, they're looking for you. You know, that's my experience, is they're waiting for you to put up that video. And so I like the consistency, and it's something that we have some control over as well, you know?
Absolutely. And so, as far as like putting a charismatic person in front of the camera, clearly you've been involved with cars for decades, and this is
Yeah.
something that's close to your heart. You have tons of experience, so it was probably natural for you to, you know, get in front of a camera and start showing off cars and talking about them.
Yeah.
And when it comes to succeeding on YouTube, it always helps when you have a lot of experience and passion for something. And I think your channel is a fantastic example of just that. You know, like you could call it monetizing your passion or even just sharing it with the world. And then when you combine that with dedication that clearly you have, I mean, the fact that you started with an upload schedule is, I mean, you were already ahead of the curve with a lot of YouTubers. They kind of just like, they start posting whenever it's done, and then eventually they'll kind of work their way towards a schedule. But
Right.
I'm glad that you've been able to like really put your passion behind your YouTube channel. So how long have you been working on cars? Has it been since day one?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll tell you this much, and some guys always laugh about this. I don't work. I actually hate working on cars, but I've been an enthusiast since I was a kid. You know, my dad and my uncle were both into cars, so we always had cool stuff around. Like as a little kid, they were super into old Porsche. You know, my dad had a '56 Porsche Speedster. My uncle had I don't know, '64, '65, 356 coupe. Hell, my mom even drove a 356 cab. So as a kid, I just thought it was the coolest thing. My uncle would take us out and do donuts in his car, and I was hooked from the time I was young. And through my life as a musician, I didn't get to spend much time around cars, but I was always following and watching and checking things out. And so when I started this business and then we started the YouTube channel, I went directly at, initially we were shooting a little bit of everything. We'd shoot exotics and sports cars and JDM. But my biggest passion in the car world is the resto mod and pro touring world, taking a 65 Mustang and cutting the unibody out and dropping it on a chassis and giving it 1,000 horsepower and all the elements that come with it. That's the part of the car world that, I mean, I swear, dude, I can't get enough of it. If we shoot 3 days a week, it's not enough for me. I wish we could do more, because there's, especially here, my God, in Southern California, we're so lucky with the weather promotes having great cars, a lot of wealth in Southern California. So there's an ability to afford, spending 500 grand to build a car that's really worth 30 grand in its original state. So yeah, it's been a fun thing to be able to take what I'm passionate about, combine it with, like I said, I was a musician. So the creative element that comes with being in front of the camera, the editing, setting up what we're going to do in shoots, and combining those two. And then the fact that, I mean, you got to admit, YouTube's a pretty cool thing. You put up content, it gets viewership. YouTube likes that, and they help promote your content, which generates more ad revenues for them. It generates ad revenues for us. It's a pretty cool thing. I mean, to watch this, what was a fun project the first year, turn into a secondary business for me. And it's, look, we ain't getting rich doing this yet, but I think if we continue to have, even if we stay on the predictable growth trajectory we're currently on without any breakthrough content, it'll be making what I consider real money in the next year to 2 years. And that's not including like all the sponsor stuff that's now starting to come into play.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, they have questions about like the kind of business end of YouTube. I am curious. So is the YouTube channel paying for itself right now, if you're comfortable talking about this? And how have you monetized your channel?
Sure. I'll even give, for anybody listening, because I always hate when you try to get information, not because you want to like try to get something from that guy or girl. It's that you want to understand this platform, this YouTube platform. And there's so few people that I've experienced that are honest about numbers. I think some people play it down like they don't make any money. Some inflate it like they make way more than they actually do. So I'll be dead nuts honest with you, and people can take what they take from it. In the first year of the channel, we went from 0 to 26,000 subscribers. Not massive, but at the same time, we definitely considered that a success. We hit the monetized point around, I think it was 6 or 7 months in, where the channel was now, we could click the monetize button, you know. We did that. It was trinkets. It wasn't much money at all. It was enough to like, hey, bitchin', that paid for lunch for everybody for the next week or whatever, you know. Year 2 generated a little more money where we went, let's definitely do this. So in year 3, which was tax year 2020, the channel generated $103,000. And that's a real number. That's not an inflated or a bogus number at all. So year 3, $103,000, which now for some people that's going to sound like a lot of money. You got to remember that's paying for Kyle to do all the editing. Me and Paul in that year, Paul and I, who originally started the channel together, we both went, hey, bitchin', let's start taking some money every month, you know, to pay ourselves for the years we've put in already. And then year 4, so 2021, tax year 2021, and I know this number well because I just got my taxes and just wrote checks the other day to yours and my favorite people, the IRS. And for the 4th year of being in business, the channel generated $149,000 in ad revenues. And then there was an additional just shy of $20,000 in doing integrated advertising, which we've now quit doing. We don't like doing the integrated ads because we feel like it kind of cheapens our content a little bit. You know, but that's a real number for you, is that it took us 4 years to get to the point where it generated $150,000 for the year. You know, I wouldn't be able to do it as my only business, but as a secondary business that's leaning towards becoming a primary, I'm pretty damn excited about it.
Yeah, as well you should be. I mean, that is a chunk of change right there. So it sounds like your main way of monetizing this channel is just through YouTube ads. Is that correct?
Correct. We were thinking of doing more of, and we get hit up plenty of times by today's episode is being brought to you by Manscaped, which we've done a Manscaped ad before, you know, and actually we made it really funny. I bought a black haired, like an afro wig, and I shaved it, and we had a pile of hair on the ground that, you know, looked like it was pubes. Totally wrong, right? And that was the basis of our ad for Manscaped, and they actually accepted it. But you know what, we're automotive, right? We're 100% automotive, and so to do these integrated spots for companies that aren't relevant to what we do and to who our audience is, we decided recently to just say no to all of them. We're not doing any of them anymore. And now what we're starting to do to create ancillary revenues for the channel is all the different aftermarket automotive companies that we're friendly with. Oftentimes we're showing their products, even with a graphic, even though we're not getting paid. Willwood Brakes, a graphic will pop up and you can see the Willwood logo on the, you know, there's value to that. And as often as we show them and other companies, we're now starting to have conversations with them about coming on as channel sponsors, and we'll have different tiers of sponsorship, from maybe a graphic at the beginning costs one thing up to, you know, a full feature of their company and stuff. I mean, we're talking through what the tiers of sponsorship will be, but we want to get it generating more money so that we have the ability to, honestly, to do, I mean, yeah, dude, it doesn't suck making money. And anybody that tells you it sucks making money, they just haven't ever made money before. It's fun. You know, it allows you to like put things like a roof over your head, buy good meals, and you know what I mean? So we really want to get the channel generating more money so we have the ability to obviously make more, but also so we can start including in travel shoots. You know, we've done a few, but we want to be able to travel around the country, do the AutoTopiaLA road tour or something like that, where we go out and, you know, shoot 50 cars from around the country in different areas. And because primarily we shoot everything we do between, man, we go about as far north as Bakersfield, California, and we go about as far south as San Diego, California. So everything happens within a few hundred miles for us, you know? And so, yeah, we're doing a lot of things that we feel like can generate more money for the channel without cheapening. what we feel like we've built. You know, we feel like we've built something that has a level of credibility in the true enthusiast world. You know.
Hmm. And it's really smart that you're doing it that way. Like I know, so I have a YouTube channel myself that I
Yeah.
built for 7 years. And one mistake I definitely made. I mean, I was running it in my early 20s, right? So it was
Yeah.
kind of I was still figuring life out in general. I'm still figuring it out. I
Are we
guess we
all,
all are.
man?
Yeah. But there was, we'd get a sponsorship offer for good money, and
Yeah.
we would do the sponsorships, and we made a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
But I do think, as you said, it sometimes it can cheapen what you're doing, and you really have to start weighing the pros and cons of like, okay, well, I get money now, but in the long run, is this actually going to hurt the channel?
Right.
Because especially with sponsorship spots where you dedicate like a minute or 2 minutes to advertising a product, that
Exactly.
is going to affect the watch time of the video. So you can kind of quantify how it's negatively affecting a video. And,
100%.
if I think some people, they can kind of pull off any ad. They have, I don't know, they just have a kind of jester mentality where they can make anything fit.
Yeah.
But I think that's rare. And
agree.
I'm glad that you're taking the long-term approach. I
Yeah.
think that's always the way to look at things.
That's been the whole approach with this. The same with, my shop here, my storage facility. We did a business plan. I had my buddy help me put together a business plan because I've never done one in my life, And in our business plan, we had this place full in 6 months and in the profit mode. Well, it took me a year and a half to get this place full. And my business loan was supposed to be paid off in 2 years. It's been extended out, and I'm finally going to have it paid off this coming December, which is awesome. I can't wait to have that paid off, But I realized long-term builds have more consistency to them. They have more chance of longevity, rather than it's a smash and it blows up and 6 months later nobody cares.
Yeah, for real. And like it's very appealing, I think, to sell out instantly like that, especially when you start getting lots of views. You get inundated with emails like
Yeah.
Manscaped is messaging you, and all these kind of classic YouTube sponsors, Raid Shadow Legends, whoever, they're sending you messages. They want to throw money at you, but it takes a certain amount of, I think, self-control to just say no. Let's look at the long term here and focus on like what do I actually care about too.
Yeah.
And I think it helps at least me and probably you sleep better at night knowing that you're staying true to yourself.
It does, man. And I got to credit, it's like my team, it's such a cool bunch of guys because we'll anytime there's something that's a major decision for us, we all sit down and talk about it. And there's times where we don't agree on things, but we all always find this middle point to meet in on. And I've always loved being part of a team because I think it, for one, I don't love all the responsibility being thrown on me. And two is I think with the creative energy that happens with a few really great creative people, I think it's so much more exceptional than what one person can create on their own, unless you're a genius, which trust me, I know I'm not that, So and it's something we stay pretty consistent on keeping what I always called artistic integrity through my music years. But in my music years, I made some really bad business choices because it was 100% artistic integrity.
Mm-hmm.
To find this balance point where we do approach this as being a business, but we're not willing to do things that feel gross to us. Like here's an example for me is when you analyze thumbnails and titles on YouTube channels, obviously very important. It's what gets people to click, right? Keywords, get people to click. And most thumbnails that I ever see, especially for automotive stuff, it's some stupid influencer face look of, and pointing at something. That's right. And I mean, cool for those guys. I got no knock, man. It's just for us, it makes us feel gross. Or to do a title that's yellow and it's outlined in red. it's just not us. It feels it like, yeah, maybe it would get more clicks, but maybe it wouldn't, you know. And I love Paul, who does all the shooting for the channel. He also does all the graphics, and he's super anal about creating a very class themed thumbnail. I mean, look, dude, we want people to click, you know what I mean? But not to the point where, like, we don't do clickbait, you know? We could easily inflate and say 25,000 horsepower car, you know, when it's a 250 horsepower. Oops, we screwed up and put in too many zeros. I mean, we don't do that, you know? We're not about the clickbait. We don't, if we got in trouble with the cops, I think there's been a couple of videos where we say it in the title because it's true. It's not some bullshit thing. We got pulled over. I mean, hell, one of our videos, I think we got a ticket at like 80 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone going through Beverly Hills.
Hell yeah.
Not a smart moment for us, I'll say, you know.
I'm sure it was a fun moment, though. Good thing you got it on film.
It was great. And the cop was told, he ended up being super cool, actually. He you know, he could have, I mean, truth is, he could have impounded the car, arrested us, and reckless and all. He could have made it a miserable nightmare. And he just wrote a speeding ticket. He even dropped the amount of the speed down. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so as far as avoiding clickbait, that's also a good move, because I think when you have a level of respect for your channel, that you're not willing to cross certain lines, you end up cultivating a community that really follows everything you do. You know, you're not constantly trying to pull in new viewers. You're not trying to trick people. You're not trying to manipulate them. You're just putting out stuff that you believe in, that is true to yourself. And over time, it's just going to keep building, because it is exactly who you are. And who you want to be. And just by doing that, you do end up accumulating a community, as opposed to like constantly having to like, all right, how are we gonna put up a billboard on the internet today to attract people, you know? And I think you end up saving yourself a lot of time and work as well, and headache, because again, like, you're just kind of doing what you want to do instead of trying to trick people. And that's just extra work. And another thing I did want to ask you is I think one thing that's really important to the success of YouTube channels, or any business really, is kind of like the team dynamic. So obviously you have a whole crew that you work with. I'm curious, like you've talked about how you all sit down whenever there's a big decision, and you will talk about it and get everybody's opinion. But so are you kind of the CEO, or are you kind of the final decision maker, or is it more of like an egalitarian thing where you kind of vote on it? How does that process work?
Yeah, I learned. So I mean, it's funny. Paul and Kyle are both here. They'll probably giggle in the background. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if there has to be a call the shot, it definitely comes down to me, and I'm okay with that, you know. But it's in my band, for instance, right? Like we weren't just a local band trying. We actually got a deal in 2007 with Sony. When the Sony deal went horribly bad, we ended up with a really cool indie label down in Austin that was funded by a guy that's a multi-billionaire. So again, it had a real shot. It wasn't like we were just playing bars hoping something might happen. We actually got, you know, I mean, we had 2 record deals and 3 publishing deals. And what I learned with that band was our approach was pure democracy. We all got to have an equal vote. And in the end, we made a lot of bad business choices, because this guy wants to go this way, this guy wants to go this way, then 2 other guys want to go this way. And you're like, the fuck do we do now, you know? And so with these guys, we still operate in a similar manner, in that we talk things through, and we always find middle grounds to meet on. Now I got to admit, I feel like I'm lucky with these guys, because everybody, although we might have a variety of opinions, everybody is always willing to hear each other. And in the end, we always align on stuff. I've never once gone, well, screw what you guys think. Here's what we're doing anyways. I've never done that. And none of the other guys ever go, well, it's my way or the highway. You know, it's a cool bunch of guys that I work with, genuinely. I mean, I
And
feel lucky
mhm.
about it.
Yeah, and that is awesome. When you were talking about your band in the kind of egalitarian total democracy system that you had,
Yeah,
I had the same experience with my YouTube channel where we had four guys and
yeah,
everybody wants different things, and it's a
yeah,
nice idea to always just like, all right, let's vote on everything and make sure that everybody is happy. And I
yeah,
think you've clearly achieved a smart middle ground there, because I
yeah,
think when you have one person who's kind of like the final decision maker, so to speak, but that person is still valuing and respecting the opinions and inputs of everybody else on the team, then you kind of end up getting the best of both worlds, where you're getting all of the perspectives, but you're still funneling it through like a single person who is kind of keeping the vision of the channel in a consistent direction.
yep, yep.
And I think that's always the way to go. I think you talked about the pure artist route. I think that is very appealing, but sometimes it can be too chaotic. Of like, you're trying to make everybody happy, and then you end up not making anybody happy, and that is
100%.
so ironic
Yeah,
and unexpected. But that
yeah,
does seem to end up happening.
yep.
Yeah, and it's lesson learned.
Yeah, dude, believe me, definite lesson. I mean, I look back on the failure of my last band, and I still learn stuff from our failures. So I'm grateful for the failures because they have definitely taught me a lot, continue to. But it's been so fun to take what was learned there and transition it over to this setting with my crew, the YouTube channel, because it's a similar element. It's like a band, right? There's four of us guys. We are in a creative process. There's a business element to it, but now we are actually able to apply a lot of smart business tools to what we do, and still learning all the time. I guarantee you, we've made some stupid choices that we probably don't even know we made, but it's, I don't know. It seems to continually be growing, and I like to see that. I love that about YouTube too, is the level of analytics they give you, so you can see what's working and what's not. You can. I mean, I actually love the analytics they give you, and I refer to them regularly.
Yeah, and speaking of analytics, so I was looking at your numbers, and I noticed in December of 2019, you guys had a massive increase. So you went
Yeah.
from getting 780,000 views a month to 1.5 million views a month. Can you tell us, like, how did that happen? What happened exactly?
Well, I think part of it is you have to look at the time of year that it is. Like during the period of total COVID lockdown, it was good for the channel because a lot of people were sitting at home watching YouTube videos. Um, December, I think, is another one of those times where you really do have a lot of people at home on vacation and stuff, so they're watching videos. Also, we did have a few cars that month that were, I mean, epic videos, including like December 17th, when we were shooting a video, which we haven't edited, put that one live yet because there's legal stuff still clearing. But I was involved in a pretty good accident. I mean, I think I had to have 30 stitches in my lip, and I had
Oh
to get
man.
new teeth, and um, it was a pretty gnarly accident. I wasn't driving. The owner of the vehicle was driving. He had total brake failure at about 45, 50 miles an hour as we were coming up to a red light with cars stopped. So we nailed this poor guy. I mean, just nailed him from the back. So in the next video that went live after that crash, the guys shot it without me. They did kind of more TV style where they interviewed the guy off camera, the owner of the car. And at the end of that video, I jumped in pretty beat up looking, a week after the car accident. I wanted all of our regular viewers to know why they didn't see me in that video. And it was because, well, I was in this accident. These guys shot the day after. That video went crazy. I mean, that video has got 1.4, 1.5 million views, something
Oh
like
wow.
that. And then crazy thing is too, this is another one of those beautiful accidents, horrible accident in the sense that it still hurts, but The beauty of it was, since I wasn't able to shoot videos, the guys came up with an alternate format that if I'm not able to be there, we can still create a super successful video. Pretty cool thing, you know?
So what is that format?
It's Kyle, our editor, kind of took the concept of, there's a show called Ridiculous Rides that we've seen some of their videos. I was in one of their videos with a friend of mine's car, and what they do is the shooter interviews off camera the owner or the subject that's being videoed, right, with the car, and then all the driving stuff, same thing. It's just me. It was just me by myself in this one. So Kyle took the concept of theirs and then edited, altered it to what he felt fit the feel of our channel. And then I just did some voiceover stuff. So I didn't show up in the video, not at all, except for my voice. I actually gave them trouble too, and the owner of the car. I was like, just got to tell you guys, hurts a little bit. It's our fastest growing video ever, our fastest to go over 1 million, and I'm not in it. So is the world trying to tell me something here?
It's funny. I've had some videos like that too, where I couldn't be in front of a camera for whatever reason. Either I was too sick and I was just going to look bad and not have good vibes.
Yeah.
And it made way more sense to just do voiceover and kind of edit around it. And it always ends up being a better idea, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're not forcing something. You're not like, I don't know, when you're like trying too hard to wheel yourself out of bed and like try to be something that you clearly do not feel like doing. It's you want to be authentic with YouTube, right? So if you're just, I mean, you were dealing with a car accident and recovering and all this stuff, like that's definitely the right move.
Yeah.
So
it actually hurt us too on the analytics, because what we did was, so December 17, the accident happens. Then for the next 2 months, we weren't able to shoot any content. We did the one video without me, and then we didn't know if we should keep doing those, right? So it was actually one where I called the shot on it and said, hey, let's wait till I'm back in action. So we went from doing 2 videos a week down to Kyle was able to go in, repurpose old content, and create some compilation episodes. And he did 5 weeks of compilations, but only 1 video a week. Crazy thing was, those videos all did really well. So all of our analytics went up as far as subscribership, retention, viewership, all those things, except for revenues dropped dramatically over the course of January and February, because 2 videos now down to 1. And they were shorter videos, so you couldn't work in that middle ad. It was interesting, and then we went 3 weeks where we didn't put up any videos at all, and we all got a little scared of like, shit, is that the end of our channel? Gratefully that since we've been back shooting and we've been back on our consistent 2 videos a week, we've been back for, I want to say it's 4 or 5 weeks now. All the analytics have come back up, and we're actually starting to have really good growth again, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I think a lot of people share that fear of if you haven't posted in too long, for you, it was 3 weeks. For some people, it can be months even. And my advice is always just don't worry about it. You really, you do need to be realistic, especially, I mean, you're running a company on top of all this and dealing with all this stuff. Like, sometimes you just can't put stuff out, and that's okay. And I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, and YouTube has actually confirmed this, is that even if you don't post for a while, YouTube isn't going to punish you. All YouTube really wants is to show the best videos to as many people as possible. So if you don't post for a month or something, you can just post again, and chances are the algorithm is going to be nice to you, as long as your new video is at least the same quality as your older ones from before your break. and that's totally okay. Sometimes you just need some time and life gets in the way. That's kind of the brilliant thing about YouTube is, you know, you don't have like a corporation breathing down your neck. You just do whatever you want to do whenever it feels right. And I think as long as your default, of course, is sticking to a schedule, and that is a huge part of your success, of course. But again, sometimes like you just need to be realistic, and that is okay. There's no shame in that. And not only is there no shame, but it's not going to punish you in the long run either.
That's cool to hear that. I wondered about that, Grant, to be honest with you, because we don't have a lot. It's not like we have a bunch of friends that are YouTubers, you know, to turn to. Like when I started the channel, that guy Mike Smurf and WRX, Mike was great. He was super active. He helped to build TJ Hunt's channel until TJ went off on his own. So Mike really knew a lot about it. Since then, he's fallen off dramatically because he actually did exactly what you were just talking. He took a little bit of a break, but when he came back, he didn't know what he was going to do. So he tried so many different things, and he wasn't consistent, and he lost his audience, you know? And I've seen that happen with a few people. I guess it's where the fear factor for me came in of 3 weeks, no putting up videos. We've never done that before. Is YouTube going to punish us for it? Are they going to sick the nasty algorithm on us that goes, oh, you know, we're going to hurt these guys? But you're right. You know, I've seen it that there was the dip, obviously, because there was no new content coming up. As soon as we started putting out stuff, started to come up. As soon as we had a video that did well, and obviously YouTube, I mean, look, they might be the nicest people in the world, that I don't know, because you can't have any communication with anyone there. But they are a business, and the way they make money is when our videos are making money and generating ad revenues, because there's whatever the percentage split is with them. So, you know, it's I like that versus the other platforms. Like, you know, if you post on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, they actually penalize you when you do well because they want you to spend money and boost your post. YouTube rewards you. Oh, you're doing good? Oh, we're going to recommend your video even more. It's going to generate even more revenues for everybody. You know, I personally love the platform. I genuinely do. I just wish there was somebody you could pick up the phone and go, hey, man, I got a question.
I know, right? They're kind of a faceless monolith, and they do have a channel called, I think, Creator Studio or something, where they kind of answer a lot of basic questions, but it's not the same as being able to pick up the phone and just talk to somebody and ask questions.
No.
And
like, I wish I could call them up and go, hey, so what is the split on ad revenues? How much do you guys take? I've heard that it's 55-45. I've heard that's the percentage, but it's not like, I don't know, man. I would love to have a phone number that I could call up and go, what's the percentage split? Hey, is there anything you guys could recommend that we should do on our channel that would make it more successful? You know, it's a brilliant platform. I mean,
oh yeah. And I think you're like you think of YouTube like a business, because obviously it is. I know so many people who are paranoid about like YouTube always trying to kill their channel or do this and do that. But you're right. YouTube at the end of the day wants you to succeed, and they're going to promote you if your videos are getting a good amount of watch time. And that's really all it comes down to. There are like some weird things, you know, if you cover certain like controversial topics, then, you know, you may get flagged and YouTube may punish you for that. But I think when you're like in the world that you're in with cars, it's there isn't like a huge chance to really screw things up to get in the bad graces of YouTube, in my opinion. So you're kind of in this like good safe zone where your content isn't going to be, you know, talking about you know, the war with Ukraine or any of these things that YouTube can sometimes deem like just they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to put ads on it. They don't want to. They're trying to distance themselves. But you know, when you're where you are, you're in a very good spot.
It is a pretty sweet spot, and we purposely we don't dabble into politics, into, you know, we're showing cars. That's what we're doing. We're showing cars, and the most controversial thing I think we ever do is maybe that burnout was too long, or maybe that donut was too radical, and we've done it in a space that somebody didn't think was safe. But we actually, even that stuff, I got to admit, man, we're we do our best. Yeah, we're guerrilla shooting. I mean, we are out on public roads, but like we have our spots picked out where we know for a fact I can point a car straight and do a burnout, and I'm not endangering not one person, not even me in the car. I mean,
Hmm.
we do our
Yeah.
best to just stay away from all that stuff and just do cool car content. Show cars that people wish they could see up close, let alone go for a drive in it. We try our best to immerse people in what our world looks like.
Hmm. And so I did want to touch on one thing. So you have several videos, about 10 videos, it looks like, over 1 million views. I think like as a YouTuber, it can be strange to notice what does super well. Like, have you noticed a pattern of like what videos end up blowing up like that? Does it seem kind of random? Are there some times when you're about to pull the trigger on a video and you're like, this one's gonna do well, and it either does or it just totally flops? So like,
Oh, man.
what is the pattern that you've noticed on your videos that end up getting? I mean, I see 6.5 million, 1.7 million, 1.6. What is the pattern there?
Dude, I wish, man, if I had an answer for that, I promise you every video we put up would have over 1 million views. I mean, our biggest video, for instance, is it's a car called Havoc. It's a 1971 custom Dodge Challenger, bonkers build. I mean, I think their budget was $700,000 or $800,000 on that car, but it's a total show car. It doesn't get driven. It goes from my shop out onto a trailer to a show, comes off the trailer, back in my garage. It doesn't get driven. So that video, we started it up, we pulled it outside, let it idle, turned it around a few times, talked through the whole build, and I parked it. We thought it wasn't going to get any viewership because we didn't drive it. We didn't do any burnouts. We didn't do anything. It's our biggest video ever, man. I mean, go figure, right? And then we've also done things like, I remember, I think it was in the second year of the channel, we got an opportunity. Nissan did a version of the GTR called the GTR 50. There's only one of them. There's one in the world. Nissan's concept was, hey, we're going to make this specialty version, and we're going to sell these for $1 million a pop. We were the only YouTube channel that got to shoot that car. Every magazine, I mean, you name the magazine, they all shot that car. Because of my friends, we were the only YouTube channel that got to shoot it, driving it with a friggin' Nissan engineer in the car with me driving it. I mean, it was like, oh, this is going to be massive. We are the only channel showing the GTR 50. Horrible viewership. Horrible. I mean, dude, if you can clue me in on like, do me a favor, go watch those big videos of ours and go, I found the ticket, Sean. Here's what you do. Because the truth is, every video we approach it the same exact way. We try to shoot amazing cars with really cool people, show them driving, maybe a burnout or two. Like we do a lot of, it's very similar, our format. The predictability, there's none. Zero predictability has been my experience anyways.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of, I'm in the same boat as well. Sometimes if I cover a certain trend, then I can expect good views. But even then, like, I'll release a video on a video game or something that hasn't, like, most people haven't talked about it in like 10 years. And then kind of over the course of time, it'll end up accumulating like 1 million views or something. And it is kind of confusing what does well and what doesn't. The best indicator I can find is like, if your intro is super catchy, like the first minute is just really engaging and people can't look away. Then once you've kind of hooked people, then they tend to keep watching the rest of the video. But again, like you've said, your format is pretty predictable. Like you know how to make these videos. They're not necessarily super different from each other beyond like what you're featuring. And I mean, that's part of the weird thing about YouTube. And especially like, I've had videos I didn't expect to blow up that like, I didn't even necessarily like the video, but then it gets millions of views. And then you get all these commenters of people who are like, oh, this video sucks. And you're like, I know it sucks, but I don't know why. It's like not, and by the way, I watched your biggest video with 6.5 million views and where you kind of didn't even drive it around. It was a beautiful car, a great video in that sense. But I did see some comments of people that were like, "You didn't even drive this. It was disappointing." And it's I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
The whole thing is funny. Of like you're getting criticized for things you already know, and like you're still putting out a great video. But I don't know.
yeah,
People like the more eyeballs you end up reaching, the more you tend to attract, I guess, negative people, and
sure,
that seems to
sure.
be the rule of YouTube. I've noticed.
Well, and you know what I've learned, man? Because believe me, dude, the first couple of years, I mean, I can't tell you how much time I spent in the comments, and I found myself spending more time trying to convince a negative commenter to be positive, rather than giving them no attention actually at all and focusing on positive comments. You know, people that, and we have a real high approval rating. You know, I know it's up in the mid 90 percentile. So most people that watch our channel genuinely like what it is that we do. And, you know, but if it's a negative comment, YouTube doesn't differentiate between that. It's engagement, engagement,
Hmm.
engagement, and engagement drives engagement, you know? So and I heard, do you know who Gary Vee is? You ever watch
Yeah,
Gary Vee?
absolutely.
I
Hmm.
love Gary Vee. Sometimes he drives me a bit nutty, but talk about a guy that just gets it. He really gets the power of social media. Um, and I think he's got a lot of good things to say. So I heard him talk about, somebody asked him, how do you deal with all the negative comments? It's such a great thing to say, man. He said, well, the way I look at it is, you just took how much time to watch my video? Now you're going to take even more time and you're going to comment on it and you're going to say something shitty? Your life must suck. You know, and so when I see these
True.
negative comments, I got to admit, my first thought is what he said. I go, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I just go, wow, that guy's life must suck. You know, and
Hmm.
I'm not going to give him the time though. I just go straight on to the next, because I do respond personally. I go into YouTube Studio every single day and I spend an hour to 2 hours, because you know YouTube Studio just puts comments in the order that they came in, so it could be a video from 2 years ago or it could be a video
Right.
from a couple of days ago. But I actually go in, man, and every single day of my life I go in and spend an hour or two responding personally to the comments, because it helps me to stay in touch with what are people seeing, what are people liking, what are people not liking. You know, when you get consistent opinion, I think I was told years ago as a kid that, you know, consistent opinion is one you have to pay attention to, whether or not you like what people are saying. If they, you know, you get 100 people that comment and they all say, hey, you suck, you might want to listen to that, you know, or whatever it is. And so I like to stay in touch with the comments. I think it helps our channel in the long run.
Definitely. Like it's always good to be tuned into what people are thinking about you. And
Yep.
it's like you do have to somehow avoid the trap of listening too much to the negative ones. I don't know why the human mind works like that, where you
Isn't it
can
funny?
read 10 positive comments and then one negative one, and then the negative one is the one that sits in your mind all day. Like that's kind of the only pitfall of like getting constructive criticism. I guess the motto I always try to stick to is like listen to the constructive criticism comments. There are
Yeah,
ones that are just like mean, and
yeah,
like you don't want to listen to just mean people. They don't know what they're talking about, and they don't appreciate what you're doing. What the comments you want to listen to most are the ones who have a criticism, but they present it in a way that is polite and respectful.
yeah,
And like I find I learned the most from those comments, and all the kind of super negative ones. I just kind of I don't know. I've kind of learned to brush them off, I think,
yeah,
except on the really bad days. But you know
yeah,
how it is.
yeah. No, yeah. Hey, I just noticed, and I'm sorry to do this, but a client is calling on my phone, which means he's outside right now wanting to come in. Can we start to, I know we're right about an hour. Can we start to do a wrap up? And I apologize for that, Grant, because I'm enjoying the conversation with you. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah,
but
no
yeah.
worries at all. I was actually about to start getting into that as well.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, well, let's wrap it up right here. Sean, why don't you tell people where they can find you, where they can engage with you, and
Sure.
yeah, where can they find you?
Sure. Instagram, obviously, it's everything with me is AutoTopiaLA. If they want to send me an email, it's Shawn, SHAWN, at AutoTopiaLA.com. Obviously, if you want to go check out what we do on the YouTube channel and see some amazing vehicles, oftentimes doing some pretty good burnouts. Again, AutoTopiaLA. I'm easy to find, and I'm the one that responds to all the stuff on Instagram. I respond to all the comments on our YouTube channel. I don't really waste my time with Facebook anymore, and I'm too old to deal with Snapchat or TikTok.
Right on. Well, Sean
Yeah.
Davis of Autotopia LA, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, I will see all of you in the next one. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, Grant.